All right, everybody, welcome back. So we got a good episode for you here today. Another Coach's podcast. Co-hosting with me today, we got Coach Roye returning. So, Coach, welcome back.
Thanks, Drew. I'm very excited to be here. There's a lot to be excited about this time of year. It's Christmas. Of course, everybody's wondering how much money you're going to spend on the best little sister on the planet there, Amazing Grace. I hope you're going to take care of her. The Lady Hawks are 4-0. Coach Mahoney and the girls are doing a great job. And I'm really excited about our guest today. Not only because we haven't caught up in a long time, but because I think what we have today is the busiest man in New Hampshire high school basketball right now. Dave is not only the athletic director at St. Thomas, but he's currently coaching the boys team, who are 4-0 and have a big one tomorrow night with Conant. And then right after Christmas, they get Guilford. So they're going to play the top teams will all be playing each other in the next couple of weeks. So I know he's busy preparing for that. And when he has 5 minutes, he has to blast over to St. Anselm's and catch his son, Josh, who just set a school record over there with 12 threes in one game. So, Dave, welcome. It's great to see you.
Thanks for having me, guys. I really appreciate it. And Coach Roye, it's been a long time, man. We used to work together, and so much respect and admiration, especially what you did at Hopkinton. And
Thanks, Dave.
You are a very busy man as well. I will say, you say that yesterday. I was in 80 in the morning. I was a dad in the afternoon at 2 o'clock. St. A's lost a tough game, and then drove to Winnisquam and was a coach last night. 9:30 last night, 10 o'clock.
That's a full day.
It was a full day. So
yeah. So I guess I'll get us rolling, Drew. One of the things about Dave that people probably don't remember from back in the day, but he was a state champion at Manchester Central, where he played for the great Paul Girton. And I know when you went on to college, you got a chance to play for Paul Hogan. So I guess to get us rolling, how did your coaches that you were exposed to kind of light the fire in you to want to coach, or how did they influence your future plans?
That's a great question, Coach. You're the first one that's ever asked me this one. To be honest, I played for some great guys, and Phil Rowe was in between there actually too. Yep. Phil for 1 year. The one thing that I learned from all of them was you got to be dedicated. You got to have a passion for it, and you got to do it the right way. At Manchester Central, nothing was handed to us. Paul Girton made you earn every second, but our only goal, it wasn't about individual points. It wasn't about who was going to make All-State. It was about, are you going to win the state championship or not? And then I learned a lot from him there, and you had to earn every second when you walked on that court. And then the same thing, I played for Coach Rowe for a year up at Plymouth State, and then Paul Hogan for 3 years. And, you got to earn it. The only thing that I ever regretted at Plymouth is we never won the Little East Championship. We knocked on the door a couple times, but we never won it. And I played with some great players, and we're still all close to this day. But that's one thing we regret. We've never been able to win one for Coach Hogan. But at the end of the day, he treated us like men, expected us to act like men. And those are the values that I still try to teach the kids to this day.
That's really a great run of people you got to play for and be around. And I remember when we worked together at Riviera, one of the things that I took from that, and that I always feel really good about, and I'm sure you're really proud of this too. I knew you were someone who really emphasized your relationship with the young men that were playing for you. And I know some of them are still your personal friends. But when we were there in the very beginning, when you were trying to build the program and turn things around there, off those first couple teams, the number of our former players who went on to be coaches in high school and college is pretty staggering. Paulie went on to coach at Riv with you, and then with the women, and Jay Starr is still coaching over at Conval. Jeff Gustafson. Talk a little bit about that, and your relationship with those guys, and how that developed from player to colleague and fellow coach.
And Coach, you worked there with me. Coach Nukas did as well, and we were old school coaches. And relationships are important, and that's one thing I learned through the years. And when you see a kid who has it, and we know what it means. It does, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
you encourage them, you tell them you have more to give, and you could tell the kids that we're going to go on to coach, and you try to help lead them down that path. Um, I don't I was young. I did some dumb things back when you and I coached together.
We
And
all.
because I was young. But the one thing that I will say that always stuck with me is you always have to have relationships. And you always had to be honest. Some kids didn't like the honesty. We both saw that.
Mhm.
Uh, but as long as you were honest with them,
Yeah.
at the end of, you know what I mean? And I look at some of the coaches, the young men that have coached through the years. I look at John McCarthy down in Mass.
Right.
It's so important relationships are with their kids, and I'm proud of that. I'm proud of what they've done, and not only that, I'm proud of the dads they've become.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, that's what it's all about. You know, they're passing it along. So
So Drew, I don't know if you're working for Coach Miller right now, but you might want to talk to Coach a little bit about his Saints, his undefeated Saints right now.
Yeah, for sure. So, Coach, I mean, you guys have had a really good program for a number of years. I know you guys made a trip back to the Final Four last year. Really tough team you guys got defeated by Mascoma, led by last year's senior Zach Thompson. So overall, that program over there that you got going, I mean, what makes it special? Why are you guys so good year after year?
you know, this is my third year as athletic director, and I thought Sean did a really nice job my first year, and he couldn't continue. I never envisioned coming back coaching. I'll be honest with you, I was full throttle. And then when it opened and we started opening the position, I remember talking to our president, and he goes, "You're here anyway. Why don't you do it?" And it just made sense. And the best part here, every school's got great kids. Please don't take this the wrong way. We got good kids. You know what I mean? Like, I haven't had this much fun coaching since my first year or two at RIV when we were starting new, everything was new. These kids want to win. They want to work hard. They'll do whatever you ask them. So for me, it was an easy adjustment. The success last year was fun. I mean, that point guard from Mascoma was a problem, and he exposed us in the playoffs. But I think we learned a lot from that, and I really think we lost two kids, two all-state players. One went to prep school, one transferred back to Exeter High School. We might be a better team this year. It's not because they left. It's because I think the momentum we built last year with the kids coming up, it was an easier transition for us this year, going into the season, the expectations. If those kids stayed, it would have been scary how good we could have been. But we're still pretty good. We might be a better team, not because of them leaving, because the philosophy's there. You know, I think we're building it. So it's been fun. It really has. I can't believe I'm saying this. What's today? December 20th?
20, yeah.
It's been a month now. We haven't had a bad practice yet. I mean, not many coaches can say that. Like, I don't yell. Coach Roye, I don't yell.
That's good for your blood pressure, Coach.
Maybe I'm old, but these kids, they grind it out. They work and they want success. And when kids want it, you've got to give them more. You've got to, you know what I mean? They want to be pushed. And the more they want to be pushed, you have to push yourself. And that's what we're doing this year. And it's fun.
Yeah, for sure. So when you have a good program like you have, like you talked about the guys that you've lost over the off season and how you haven't had a bad practice yet, what is it with you and your group of kids that like, what do you do as a coach that inspires them and allows them to start out a season like really strong like that and not run into, major issues, at least to this point?
And Drew, I can say this because I'm old. And I've watched a lot of high school basketball in my time. Coach Roye will tell you, he might have lost a coin flip where he had to go to a gym in an afternoon one time. But we've seen a lot of basketball in our time. The one thing that I've learned is kids don't defend and rebound and play hard every day. And those are our three core values. If you can't it takes no talent to do that. And we've got the kids believing in that. Like, there's an article today on the Seacoast Online. I didn't know it was coming out. I thought they were just interviewing after a game last week, Well, they put it together and put in an article. And the one thing that the kids kept saying was defense. We need to defend and rebound. So there we go. There's the culture. And then we talk about selflessness. Like we do a lot of drills in practice where we make an extra pass. I mean, we got 2 kids that can score 20 any night, but we also have 3 or 4 other kids that can put double figures. And now they don't care because they see what happens when you move the ball. Everybody gets rewarded. So that part to me, they bought into. But at the end of the day, like if you have core values and you stick to them, you know, Coach had them at Hopkinton, and but I told the parents my first day getting the job. I remember in mid-June before the summer league, I said, kids, we're going to do 3 things here. And if you don't, you're not going to play. You're going to defend, you're going to rebound, you're going to play harder. If you play harder than your opponent, you can hide your weaknesses. And coach knows that well. And we have weaknesses, but we're going to outplay you. And if we don't, we're going to lose. And Mascoma exposed us because they outplayed us last year in the semifinals, and I'll never forget it. So
I was at that game, Dave, and I didn't get there until I think it was late in the first half, and they had blown it out pretty good. And then you guys made a great run, and we're right in the thing. And right at the end of the third quarter, Thompson hit that ridiculous shot where your kid was defending the out of bounds and actually deflected the pass. And I think it ended up being a 4-point play and a big momentum swing. And I was sitting with Coach Nukas, and I said, "Oh, that hurts," because you guys had built the momentum and came back from a big deficit. And it felt like the game was swinging in your way. And then the kid just made a phenomenal play, you know.
yeah, absolutely, coach. And I look back at that, like a kid like Zach Thompson, I watched him on film, and I'm like, we needed to double him more, and we didn't really follow the game plan much in the first half, which was kind of disappointed. I think our kids thought they could just go straight up.
Yeah.
That kid's special. And when you got a kid like that, you got to pay attention every second, because he made the players around. The best thing you can say about a basketball player is he makes the players around you better. He elevated those players.
Yeah.
And you're down 24. You're right. We did make a comeback. And if that shot doesn't go, I'd like to have seen what the fourth quarter could have come.
Yeah.
An 8-point game goes to 12 again. Like,
Yeah.
at the end of the day, we didn't do what we needed to do in the first half, and,
Yeah.
and it was disappointing.
You were talking about your kids and your program learning from going there to the Final Four, and I look at you know what you're talking about now. I remember when we started at Riv, we tried to run up and down the floor and shoot as many threes as we could get off in 10 seconds. And it became real obvious to us early that, we don't have the horses to play that way. So the places you played and the places you coached, how has that changed, your ability to look at
It's
go,
funny you
this
say
is what
that,
our
because
strength
I
is,
was young, I was down. I'm like, yeah, we're gonna, had the Rick Pitino mentality. You know what I mean? Back three, hopefully we make
Right.
them. But I
Yeah.
remember towards the end of my career at Riv, I wanted to limit possessions and be the best defensive team. And I used to, and we lost a lot of games, like 52-50. But you know what I mean, like, and you become smarter, like, and like you said, you got to coach to what you have.
Yeah.
And the one thing that I see in basketball today, tomorrow night, we'll get a team that wants to defend for 32 minutes. I know that, but most teams don't want to defend. And the greatest part about this team, coach, and I think this is the best way to answer your question, is we talk about 50-50 shots coming down the floor. Teams will give you a 50-50 shot. If you can make that 75-80-20 shots, you become successful.
Right.
It's so refreshing. When I walked in the locker room at halftime, I'm hearing my senior captain, Will Mullica, goes, "We needed to be more like 70." Sorry, my phone's going. I'm going to shut it off here. He goes, we need to make that 75-80% shots. And it's refreshing because they get it. I don't think people defend the way they used to. You know what I mean? Like growing up, like when I played at Central High School, we played Nashville, we knew it was going to be a fist fight. If you didn't reverse the ball 2 or 3 times, you weren't getting a good shot.
Yeah.
I think today with the AAU and kids not playing enough, the first even hint of a shot, they just throw it up there. And we're trying to teach our kids, move the ball. You watch the percentages go up. And I
Yeah.
think our kids are seeing that. So I think that's the best way to say it is,
Yeah.
in its experience as a coach and player, the more you do it. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you got Conan tomorrow night. That's going to be your toughest test so far. I know that
Yeah.
you guys were ranked very, very highly in the preseason poll. I think Conan was number 1. I forget where you guys were, but I thought you guys were in the top 5. So this being your biggest test, how do you prepare for an opponent like that? And just what's the message to your players when you have a big game coming up like this, where you could have some guys being nervous about it?
Yeah, I think the nerves are out the window for a couple reasons. One, the respect level for Eric Saucier is ridiculous.
Mhm.
Like, I've coached in college. I've seen a lot of great college coaches, and I've seen a lot of great coaches in high school basketball. Eric Saucier is up there with anybody I've ever seen. Like, this guy can coach.
Mhm.
We've become close, and I'll be honest with you, like, we're playing into that New Hampshire Sports Page doubleheader. We had the first game against Alva, and they had the second game against Exeter. His kids are sitting behind our bench, our kids are sitting behind their bench, and we're all rooting for each other. So the fear factor,
Yeah.
like, I'll be honest with you, my favorite win last year out of all the wins, you go to Conant and get a W. That was very, very happy last
Oh,
year.
yeah.
I'm not going to lie to you, and it's because of my respect level for them.
Yeah.
So, but I think there's a mutual respect for both programs, mutual respect, both coaches. Like, he wanted us to beat Alvin that day, and we did, thankfully, and we wanted them to beat Exeter really bad that day. They lost it, they played them tough. Because we're proud of Division 3, and we both feel like
Yeah.
you take us out of division, we can play with anybody, to be honest with you. And we're I don't say we can play, we're not afraid to play with anybody.
Mhm.
So getting ready for tomorrow night, look, you can see there's some down teams in the league this year. That there's 4 or 5 games you better be ready for.
Yeah.
When I get off this Zoom, we're going into the film room. There'll be a lot of film on Conant, and then we're going on the practice floor. Thankfully, there's no classes today. We're on spring break. I mean, Christmas break. So we'll be prepared, and I know they have watched every one of our games as well. So it'll be a great battle. I can't wait.
Yeah.
A loss for
Dave,
Eric and I in December doesn't kill you.
I want you to really enjoy that win at the Pratt, because when I was at Campbell, we went there every year and he whacked me every time over there. We had a 17-point lead in the fourth quarter and lost there. That is a really tough place to play. You're right. I used to tell my kids when we were on the road, hey, we're down 10-0. We're on the road. But when we go to Jaffrey, it was like, hey, we're down 25-0.
You're so right, Coach. Like, there's 3 minutes left. We're up by like 12. And a parent was sitting behind the bench. He told this kid to shoot it. I turned around, I'm like, no, be quiet. We're up 12. Let's take our time here. I just wanted to get on that bus as fast as I could.
Get out of there quick.
Yeah. So
No, it's a great atmosphere.
what he's done there and what he's done in the state. Not only that, I'm sure he could have moved on many times because he's that good of a coach. No, that's his program. That's where he wants to be. So much
I
respect.
tried to make him a Hawk when we had an opening, but he wouldn't leave.
No, he wouldn't leave.
Yeah. We're running out of time a little, but we still got some time left though. So I just wanted to kind of close with some of the most important things. So Coach, what's like the most important stuff about, your program, the way you coach and everything that you want people out there to know who are watching?
The most important thing, and I mean this, and Coach Roye, you know me, like, family's the most important thing. And I tell these kids this, and we talk about family all the time. My favorite thing in the world is not being a coach, not being an AD, it's being a dad. Hands down. I've become a better coach because I'm a father. And I tell these kids every day, like, you got to be thankful for what your parents do every day. I think if you get that in order, coaching and playing, and this has taken me time to realize through the years and becoming a father, if you get that in order, success will follow success. If you know what I mean, when you're going home and you're respecting your family and you know what I mean, and that message, and then you're coming into the gym and everything's going well, it's easy to be successful. But that's to me, family's the most important thing. And 2, work ethic.
Mhm.
Nothing's handed to you in life. Like,
Drew,
I,
if I can
I,
piggyback real quick, Drew, I have a family thing for you, Dave. We haven't had a chance to talk about the boys, and I know
yeah,
you're really proud of them. Maybe we can have you back sometime to talk about Cody and Josh and your experience as a parent. But I did see something, I believe it was on Facebook last summer. Um, Cody got moved up to play at Pensacola, and you guys went down to catch a game, and the Marlins were nice enough to let Kristen throw out the first pitch.
oh yeah.
And now, being a longtime Red Sox fan, I was watching that and I was wondering, did Heim Bloom reach out to her for some bullpen help there or what?
So it was the first time she had ever seen him play professionally in 2 years. She had never seen him play professionally. So we get there and he hits for the cycle, which you're in awe. I don't care if you're a dad or a regular fan, just a story. Channel 9's calling the next day, they're doing it, you know what I mean? And then we walk to the ballpark the next day, that night, they're like, the next day, they're like, you're gonna throw out the first pitch. And if you know my wife, she's as shy as they come. She goes, no, I'm not doing it. And Josh, my son was like, no, mom, you're doing it. So what people don't know is that day, it's 110 degrees down there during the day. It is hot in Pensacola, Florida in June and July. She has me outside. She goes, I'm not bouncing it. And because if you know my wife, she's super athletic.
Yeah.
I'm not bouncing the pitch and I'm throwing it from the rubber. If I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it right. So we played catch for an hour outside. I think I lost like 10 pounds playing catch. I needed, but she had to walk out there, coach, and she threw it in the air. So
Yeah, it was a good pitch. It looked good. A lot better than what I was watching on Nesson. Uh, but no, that was really a neat thing to see. And I know from previous conversations, the Marlins have really taken good care of Cody and you guys, since he signed. But I'm sorry, Drew, I had to throw that one in there
No, that
because
was pretty cool.
yeah,
that was a fun story.
yeah.
Yeah. So overall, kind of the final closing question I would say is with this team and where you're headed, I mean, what does it take to win a championship? What are all the little things that go on every day behind the scenes that go into winning all these games that fans do not see?
Well, the first thing is you don't talk about a championship. I think that's every team that starts a year wants to win a championship.
Yeah.
Don't talk about it. The only thing we're talking about today is how do we get better and get ready for Kona tomorrow? That's it. You can't speed up February. I feel you can lose a championship in December. You can't win one. So that's the biggest thing. Like we don't talk about it. Do we think, and if you build up and get better every day, you should be playing for it in the Final Four.
Right.
You need a little luck to win a championship too. We've all seen it. We've all been a part of it. Something's, you're going to have to win a tight game. A call's going to go your way, whatever. But you're going to get lucky. But the only thing you can control every day is how hard you work and in staying focused on the task at hand. Look, Drew, you're coaching with Hopkinton this year. Is that true?
No,
No. Okay.
I'm just a reporter interview guy.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have a question for you if we have time. There's 3 minutes left.
Okay.
But at the end of the day, you control what you control. We you know what I mean? Like we could get injured. Who knows? But that's all. And I think Coach Roye, I think you're a very similar mindset as I do.
Yeah, I agree. It's a long season and you want to be playing your best in February, But you're right. Last year, my girls team, we got to the Final Four, but like every coach, I looked at the bracket and I went, hey, this isn't too bad for us. We avoided the top teams until the Final Four. And I thought if we played well, we'd be okay. And it ended up we were. There's other years, as you know, Dave, where you look at your bracket and go, oh, that's the worst possible draw for us,
Right, exactly.
So it really does come down to what you're saying. Get better every day, one game at a time, learn from every game, all that stuff is really great. But you said you have a question for Drew.
Yeah. Were you at the game last night? 29-28?
No, I wasn't.
I'm trying. I texted Eric Saucier just before getting on. Like, did you guys
Yeah.
stop the game at halftime?
Yeah.
So,
I
all
was
right.
watching it on NFHS and It was both teams got really after it defensively, and both teams shot poorly. There were good looks, but it was a real slugfest. And Hopkinton had the ball out of bounds with 6 seconds to go on their half of the court, had a chance to win the game,
Yeah.
and there was a turnover. And but it was two pretty hard-nosed defensive teams going at it. I think Sauce would tell you they weren't sharp, but they execute their stuff well. They're an Eric Saucier team. They're going to defend you. They run their offense very patiently, and they execute off screens really well. And you should have a good run. That should be a great game tomorrow night.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'll stop recording now, but Coach, I appreciate it. I hope you come back at some other point. I'd love to interview you again.
I appreciate it. I appreciate both you guys. Like,
Yeah.
Drew, nice meeting you for the first time, and Coach, we need to catch up. So.
Yeah, we do. We need to get together when we get a chance. I find myself with a little more time on my hands currently.
Absolutely.
So, Drew, thanks for having me.
Happy holidays, guys.
Yeah,
Same to you, Dave.
you guys too. All right, thank you.